Hello, we are going to do a little review of linear equations. So first let's talk about finding slope between 2 points. In order to find slope, you need to know the slope formula, which is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or change in y over change in x. Recall here, it doesn't really matter what order you put your 2 points in. It doesn't matter which point is point 1 and which point is point 2. It just matters that you are consistent for the whole thing. So if I wanted to find the slope between 2 points, say I had 2, 3, and -1, 7, I'm going to call this point 1. I'm going to call this point 2, but again, it doesn't matter. I would do 7 minus 3 over -1 minus 2, and I would end up getting 4 over -3, so that is my slope, negative 4/3. Which, if I am just estimating it, remember that a positive slope increases from left to right, and a negative slope decreases from left to right. And then you can have zero slope, which is a horizontal line, or you can have undefined slope, which is a vertical line. Sweet. So that is finding slope between 2 points. Okay, continuing on with our review, as a recap, there are 3 different forms of linear equations. So the first one, point slope, uses the equation that we just used, and you would have y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1, and here these coordinates are the coordinates of a point that you're given, and then m equals the slope of the line that you're talking about. Be careful here, this sign is the negative sign here is pretty important. Technically this looks like this, y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. And that's important because if you have a negative sign for y or x, if you have a negative coordinate for y or x, it's going to change the overall sign of the equation. Okay, slope intercept looks like y equals mx plus b. Recall that b is the y-intercept and m is the slope. And standard form just looks like ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are integers and a is positive. All of these equations, you can use point slope form and just convert it to both slope intercept or standard form. So say, for example, we had a slope equal to 1/2 and a coordinate of, let's go with -2, 6. In this case, our first version would be y minus 6 equals 1/2 x plus 2, because it's minus -2. That's it. That's point slope form. You leave it alone. Don't do anything. Okay, then if you want to put it into slope intercept form, you just have to expand it. So this becomes y minus 6 equals 1/2 x, multiply the 1/2 to everything in the parentheses. 1/2 times 2 is equal to 1. We're going to add the 6 to both sides, and we get y equals 1/2 x plus 7. So that is our slope intercept form there. Then if we want to have standard form, all we need to do is got to get the x's and the y's on the same side. So I'm going to subtract this value over. So I have negative 1/2 x plus y equals 7. But recall that a, b, and c are all supposed to be integers, and a is supposed to be positive. So to clean it up, I'm going to take the whole thing and multiply it by -2, because that'll change the a value into a positive. And then we get -2y and -14. And that's our standard form. So all of those just came from point slope. So point slope is really the one that you need to remember. And then you can manipulate all the others from that. Moving on. So let's talk about parallel and perpendicular lines as a recall. All parallel lines have the same slope. And all perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. So this means if I have a slope of equal to 2, then the perpendicular slope, that little symbol there means, this little symbol means perpendicular. The perpendicular slope is going to be negative, that's opposite, and reciprocal 1/2. Okay, so let's take a second using this little problem over here. We are given the equation 2x minus 3y equals 5, and we're given the point 2, -1. So we're going to write the equation of a parallel line that goes through those, a line that's parallel to that equation and goes through that point. And we're going to do a perpendicular line. So this is that's a highlighter. This is the symbol for parallel lines. Hey, look, it looks like parallel lines. So let's start with that. In order to write the equation of any line anywhere, you need a point and a slope. Do I have a point? Yes, I do. The point is 2, -1. Do I have a slope? Well, this is written in standard form. So if you recall, if you want to find the slope in standard form, it's equal to -a over b. The reason why is if we took this and changed it, we would subtract the 2x. So we'd have -3y equals -2x plus 5. And then we would divide by -3. And we would have y equals positive 2/3 x minus 5/3. Oh, hey, look, 2/3 is our slope. Or if we just did -a over b, well, -a would be -2, b is -3. Oh, look, positive 2/3. Either way you want to find the slope is fine, doesn't matter. Okay, so now I have the slope of the parallel line, and I have the point that the parallel line is going to go through. So I'm going to write my equation using point slope form. That's the easiest way to do it. So I'm going to have y minus a -1, which is y plus 1, equals 2/3 x minus 2. Then, depending on what information is asked for, I may or may not have to change that around. But for now, I'm just going to leave it because you guys already know how to change stuff around because we just did it. Okay, let's talk about perpendicular lines. So for a perpendicular line, we have the same point, 2, -1. And then now we need the slope. But the slope of a perpendicular line is the opposite reciprocal. So if our parallel line had the slope of 2/3, perpendicular to that would be opposite. So it's going to be negative. And then flip this fraction. Reciprocal would make it 3/2. So now we have our point and our slope. We can use point slope form. Y minus a -1, which is y plus 1, equals -3/2 x minus 2. Again, follow the directions to make sure that you put it in the correct form, and then you'll know what you're doing. Okay, so that was just a super fast recall on equations of lines and slope.